Hello everyone, this is Chris, and 1.18 is making some serious adjustments to how 1.17 and 1.18 worlds coincide with one another, and while at least right now it's not necessarily the best transition, it is a transition nonetheless. And I figured today showing and explaining how in-depth this actual transition is, and how close it actually is to when you actually load it into your world. Right now, that probably doesn't make too much sense, but it will soon enough, because many people might expect the 1.17, 1.18 generation terrain to be dependent on your simulation distance, and right now I have mine, I believe, set at 4 right now, so you should expect, like, maybe 4 chunks of area to generate in with the old 1.17 generation and then transition over to 1.18, but surprisingly, there's much more to that story than meets the eye. Best way to show it off is by actually loading in a brand new world with 4 simulation distance, just to show you, and yeah, we won't be moving from this spot right here, but we're going to look around, we're going to, check out the surrounding area. We got a nice ocean over there, we got a village in the distance over there, we have some extreme hills in the distance with even more ocean around there, so you should expect some, at least a few of these things to generate in when we upgrade to 1.18, but as I shall show you, that's not exactly entirely true. And so now we have a copy of that one world, and we should expect something like what we see in the one image right here, with the forest, with the ocean in the background right there, but, some things could change. The generation from 1.17 to 1.18 could be just slightly different from here and there, but it should be, generally speaking, the exact same as to what we saw, and the answer is not exactly, because you remember we were standing itself right down here. We didn't move at all any horizontal directions, and we could see that, yeah, it generated in new chunks much closer than normally expected. Instead of having, the village over there, we instead now have a savanna biome. Instead of the ocean over there in the distance, we now have a badlands biome, we have a mountain in the distance, and we do have some ocean, but I think that's just by chance of it generating in here. But yeah, this thing right here, the little area we have right here, this is the normal 1.17 generation we had when we started, and we could see this actually cuts from one to another much closer than usual, which is, kind of odd. If like, generating from one type of generation to another, it usually at least spaces out a little bit, but this one actually cuts in much closer than originally expected. But maybe that was just by accident. Maybe that was just like on chance or something like that. So let's try it again, and let's actually maybe move around just a little bit, just get a general feel of this one world. So we got ourselves a savanna around here, we got ourselves another forest around here. Okay, not too bad of a spawn, but what we should actually do is we should actually load in a locator map and maybe just go around the complete outside of this one edge over here. Because, then that should give us a general idea as to what's actually happening, because there's no way that this could actually, happen. An entire classic style map loading in with 1.18 terrain. Like, we loaded in everything. We see literally everything, but yeah, no chance that could happen a second time. Well, I guess there's only one way to find out, and that's by loading it inside the experimental generation. And it's kind of hard to tell because we have savanna on savanna, but inside this one map actually generated in 1.18 terrain. We could see this little chunk boundary right here with the dirt right here. Yeah, this Savanna Hill right here is actually 1.18 generation. And we can also kind of tell with the tree generation in that some of the leaves kind of got cut off just a little bit from generating from one part to another, and also some water happening to generate in very strange commodities. Yeah, right inside of this classic 128 by 128 style map is 1.18 generation, surrounding it by 1.17 generation, surrounding that by an entire world of 1.18 generation. But in all seriousness, why am I actually telling you all this? Why am I telling that, oh yeah, you get new generation inside of old generation? Well, it's actually much more complicated than it might actually seem. And I think it's best to show it off inside of the Triple S Let's Play, which, by the way, I have done a slight bit of a exploration outside of videos. But yeah, the main reason why I'm mentioning this is because from loading in 1.17 generation to 1.18 generation is actually much more slimmer than usual, because instead of it being reliant on simulation distance or render distance or anything like that, it's instead reliant on literally where the player has actually been. And I think it's made obvious that I came all the way over here to this Savannah Plateau over here and loaded in some chunks, but then you can see like an immediate hard edge as to from one biome to another over to these icebergs over here. Yeah, I was around here, I was around about here or something like that, and then it just immediately cuts to the new generation, as we could see from this right here. At a guess, I think for my estimates, it seems as though the 1.18 generation actually starts generating in around about 16 to 20 blocks away from where the player has actually been. But I think in the end, it's best to show this off inside of Creative, and I think it's best to show it off by building one big straight line and then generating this into 1.18. And yeah, now that we are inside of 1.18 generation, we can get a real feel as to what I'm trying to explain and talk about. So again, I did not dwindle and dot hole around apart from being on this one straight red line, and we can see that you get maybe about 20 or so blocks. Let me actually count to make sure to see the exact number. So from the looks of things, it's about 20 blocks from where the player is where new 1.18 chunks actually starts beginning to generate in, which means in case you have like a survival world you've been playing on for like say a year now, and you have like say one particular chunk or just one particular area no one has ever been in, then that could generate in like a mega mountain or like a very deep depth cave or something like that. And you know, for most people that could be pretty interesting and pretty unique, but for other people that could be pretty out in the open and pretty not needed inside of that particular area. And yeah, it generates just much closer to the player than what it actually might seem. But this could be subject to change, so in the future it could be looking much different. The terrain changes from 1.17 to 1.18, but I think I've gotten my point across. I think I've rambled on long enough, but yeah, what do you think about the terrain changes from 1.17 to 1.18 and how literally close they are to the player? Let me know down below, but for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.